Wendy Osefo had probably a pretty amazing, unproblematic season, and I love that for her. But Karen Huger intentionally not thanking Wendy just reminded all of us, even if you were a fan of Karen, of exactly who Karen Huger really is: delusional.
Oh my goodness! Let me tell you about the Real Housewives reunion that has everyone's jaws on the floor. This season's reunion isn't just bringing the heat, it's setting the whole stage on fire. The moment that reunion trailer dropped, social media absolutely exploded over one particular moment that has changed everything. Picture this: Dr. Wendy Osefo with fire in her eyes going after Karen Huger in a way that left everyone, and I mean everyone, absolutely stunned. And trust me, darling, this wasn't just your typical housewives spat. This was a calculated, devastating takedown that no one saw coming. It all started when Karen made this deeply personal confession that initially had everyone's hearts melting. She opened up about these incredibly private struggles, talking about how being in the spotlight had been weighing on her soul. The way she spoke, so raw, so emotional, so powerful, had everyone reaching for their tissues. Well, almost everyone, because here's where it gets juicy. Dr. Wendy wasn't buying it. Not one bit. While everyone else was falling over themselves to comfort Karen, Wendy sat there, watching like a hawk, her mind clearly working overtime. And when she finally spoke up, child, she didn't just shake the room, she shattered it. The tension was electric when Wendy looked Karen dead in those eyes and asked that one question that changed everything. Karen, why did you really do this? The other housewives' heads were spinning so fast they could have powered a small city. Even Andy Cohen, who's seen it all, looked like he needed a moment to process what was happening. But Wendy, she was just getting started. She systematically laid out every single reason why she wasn't buying Karen's story. She brought up patterns, inconsistencies, and dropped a theory so shocking it had everyone gasping for air. The room transformed from a support group to an interrogation chamber faster than you could say, grande dame. The real tea, though? That's just the beginning of what Wendy exposed. And honey, you won't believe why she thinks Karen isn't telling the whole truth. Karen had opened up about going through this supposedly devastating time, hinting at emotional and financial struggles that were weighing her down. It was a rare glimpse behind that perfectly maintained facade she usually shows the world. All the other housewives were falling over themselves to offer support. Social media was flooding with hashtag Team Karen posts. But Dr. Wendy, she was sitting there quiet as a mouse, watching everything unfold with those calculating eyes of hers. And if you were paying attention, which obviously I was, her body language was screaming, "I'm not buying what you're selling, honey." You see, Wendy's always prided herself on being the sharp one, the one who can see through all the smoke and mirrors. And baby, in that moment, it was crystal clear she had something major up her sleeve. Then came the moment that had everyone's mouths hanging open. With a voice as sharp as a stiletto heel, Wendy asked, "Karen, are you telling the truth or are you just controlling the narrative again?" The energy in that room, it didn't just shift, it completely flipped upside down. Those same housewives who had been nodding along like bobbleheads, they were now exchanging glances that could have started a fire. And Karen, oh honey, for the first time maybe ever, that legendary confidence of hers cracked like a mirror. Just for a split second, mind you, but we all saw it. She looked like someone who'd just been caught with their hand in the cookie jar. But remember, darling, this is Karen Huger we're talking about. The grande dame doesn't stay rattled for long. She tried to regain control faster than you can say tax problems, denying everything and insisting her struggles were as real as her designer bags. But Wendy? She was like a dog with a bone, and she wasn't about to let go. She started pulling receipts out of thin air, reminding everyone about all those times Karen had, shall we say, selectively shared information to protect her image. This wasn't just some random call-out either. Wendy had clearly done her homework better than she did for those 4 degrees. She brought up specific moments when Karen's stories had more holes than Swiss cheese, times when she denied rumors only to have the truth come strutting out later like it owned the place. The more Wendy talked, the more those other housewives started squirming in their seats like they were sitting on hot coals. Some of them looked like they were starting to see Karen in a whole new light, while others seemed scared to pick a side, probably worried about ending up on the wrong end of Karen's wrath. Of course, Karen wasn't about to sit there and take it like a rookie. She fired back, calling Wendy's accusations unfair and trying to paint her as the drama queen of the century. But Wendy, cool as a cucumber in a beauty spa, she just wouldn't let Karen change the subject.
As you notice, I'm not there. I am going away to a treatment center to address taking antidepressants and drinking. I want to get to the bottom of it. But I would be remiss if I didn't take this time to thank those who truly touched my heart during this whole process.
Just when everyone thought they'd seen it all, Wendy pulled out the big guns. The tension in that room was already thick enough to cut with a knife. But when she started dropping her evidence, baby, you could have heard a pin drop on carpet. You've been through how many public crises, Karen? Wendy demanded, staring down the grand dam like a prosecutor in court. And every single time you somehow turn yourself into the victim. Why should we believe you now? Those words didn't just cut deep. They were performing surgery. The other housewives sat there in silence, so thick you could have spread it on toast. Their eyes were bouncing between Wendy and Karen like they were watching the world's most intense tennis match. And Karen? The queen of comebacks suddenly looked like she'd forgotten every word in the English language. She opened and closed her mouth like a fish out of water, clearly scrambling for the right response. But Wendy wasn't about to give her time to recover. She started laying out receipts like she was working the checkout at Target during a Black Friday sale. Every situation where Karen had done the dodge and weave, questions about her marriage, those mysterious financial rumors, allegations that conveniently disappeared, Wendy painted a picture of someone who could rewrite history better than any best-selling author. Let's talk about patterns, Karen, Wendy pressed on, her voice dripping with certainty. Every time things start getting messy, you magically produce some new crisis that makes you look like the victim. And it works because we all let it work. Finally finding her voice, Karen snapped back like a rubber band. I don't owe you an explanation for my personal struggles. You don't get to decide what's real and what's not. But Wendy wasn't finished. Not by a long shot. She leaned forward, dropping her voice just enough to make everyone lean in like they were about to hear the world's juiciest secret. So you're saying this breakdown wasn't just another deflection? And that's when she dropped the bombshell that had everyone's jaws hitting the floor. Wendy claimed that Karen's emotional confession, you know, the one that had everyone reaching for tissues, wasn't as spontaneous as a summer rainstorm. According to her, it was all calculated, like a chess master planning their next move, designed to pull everyone's attention away from something much, much bigger. What was Karen trying to hide? Well, Wendy wasn't ready to spill all the tea just yet, but she made it crystal clear that something major was brewing behind those perfectly curated Instagram posts. I know you, Karen, Wendy declared, and I know when you're playing a game. The accusations she threw next, they were brutal enough to make a reality TV producer blush. Wendy hinted at serious money troubles that Karen had been keeping under wraps tighter than a new facelift. She suggested that loyalty, whether in friendships or even in marriage, wasn't as solid as a rock, but more like quicksand. Then came the moment that had everyone's heart stopping. Karen, you're not the victim here. You're the puppet master, and I think it's time everyone sees the truth. The silence in that room was heavier than all their designer bags combined. The other housewives weren't just watching drama unfold, they were witnessing what could be the biggest scandal since Karen's last scandal.
What were your reactions to the verdict, when Karen's DUI verdict?
Okay, well, you know, it's really sad. At the end of the day, I want what's best for her, and I know that watching that video was not only terrible for us watching it, I'm sure it was terrible for her as well.
That's right.
So I feel for her.
Yeah. Kiki, did you see the videos?
I did. I was horrified at everything.
Yeah.
You know, I was horrified at everything. You know, I've always loved the grand dame.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh no.
Yeah.
It's just speechless, and I'm just, you know, want everybody to be safe.
Right.
But honey, if you thought Karen was going to let Wendy tear down her empire without a fight, you clearly don't know the grande dame. The moment Wendy called her out for manipulating the narrative, something in Karen snapped like a champagne cork under pressure. That cool, composed facade, gone faster than last season's fashion. Karen fired back with the force of a woman protecting her throne. You want so badly to make me the villain, but guess what? I'm still standing and you will never take me down. The energy in that room shifted so fast it could have caused whiplash. Some of the housewives were nodding along with Karen like they were at a concert, while others were exchanging looks that spoke volumes without saying a word. This wasn't just another petty argument over who said what at whose dinner party. This was full-on warfare. Karen leaned forward, her eyes blazing. You call me the puppet master, but Wendy, let's be real. Who's the one always stirring the pot? Who always has something to say about everyone else's business but never wants the spotlight on herself? Wendy's expression didn't change, but her silence, it spoke louder than any Real Housewives argument ever could. Karen, seeing her chance, pounced like a designer-clad lioness. You sit there acting like you're exposing the truth, but all you're doing is throwing out accusations and hoping something sticks. If I were really hiding something, don't you think there'd be proof by now? But you have nothing, just speculation. That's when Wendy's face did something that had everyone on high alert. She smirked. Just a tiny one, but it was caught by every camera in that room. Oh, Karen, she said, shaking her head like a teacher disappointed in a student. You and I both know that's not true. The tension in that room? You could have cut it with a diamond-encrusted knife. Karen maintained her composure, but anyone with eyes could see Wendy had struck a nerve deeper than any Botox injection. Meanwhile, the other housewives were picking sides faster than they pick outfits for confessionals. Giselle was living for every second of this drama, looking like she just won front row seats to the best show in town. Candy Axe sat there with her arms crossed, her face unreadable as a blank check. Poor Mia looked torn between sides like she was watching a tennis match in designer heels. But Robin, she jumped right into the fire. Wendy, do you actually have receipts, or are we just talking in circles? Wendy's response sent shockwaves through the room. Let's just say the season's not over yet. And just like that, the tension skyrocketed higher than their glam budgets. The fans, they're more divided than a Black Friday sale crowd. Some are rallying behind Karen like loyal soldiers, convinced Wendy's just stirring up drama without any real proof. After all, Karen survived more rumors than she has wigs, and she's always come out on top looking fabulous. But others, they're Team Wendy all the way, dissecting Karen's every reaction like amateur detectives. They're pointing out every hesitation, every stumbled word, convinced it's all proof that Karen's hiding something bigger than her tax bills, and Wendy knows exactly what it is.
So you know Karen had to address this on her social media, and she posted this on her Instagram. So pause the video so you can read her full statement, but she's basically saying that all the ladies knew that she was going to be expanding her brand into candles and other home essentials.
And honey, if you thought this was messy, just wait. This battle between Karen and Wendy is far from over. It's just getting started. The tension isn't just thick, it's practically solid gold at this point. With every new episode, more layers of this feud are being peeled back like an onion made of pure drama. Wendy's made it crystal clear she's not done exposing Karen, but Karen, she's standing her ground like it's the last designer sale of the season. When two strong-willed women refuse to back down, there's only one way this can go: straight into absolute chaos. The other housewives are already picking sides like they're choosing teams for the world's most dramatic dodgeball game. Those alliances we thought were solid as marble countertops, they're cracking faster than a poorly done facelift. The whispers about Karen's secrets are getting louder than the clinking of champagne glasses at a reunion, and Wendy's confidence? It's suggesting she's got more receipts than a Gucci store during holiday season. But here's the million-dollar question. Is Wendy really exposing the truth, or is she just playing the game better than anyone else? Stay tuned, because the next chapter of this showdown might just change everything we thought we knew about the Grande Dame and her perfectly curated kingdom.